Nothing me and you see means anything. We have given what we see all the meaning that it has for us. We do not understand anything we see. These thoughts do not mean anything. We are never upset for the reason we think. What's good, fam? We just made it to the first review of this beautifully written book, A Course in Miracles. Today, we will be reviewing lessons 1 through 5. And for the next 10 days, we will be reviewing 5 lessons each. So tomorrow for lesson 52, we will be reviewing lessons 6 through 10. And then the next day, 11 through 15, etc. So let's go ahead and dive straight into the introduction so that way we understand what these next 10 days are going to look like and how they will be different from what we've been doing so far. If you got the book, you already know where to go, pull up. And if you don't got the book, go ahead and use the PDF in the description. And we're going to dive right in, and then we will begin. So let's go ahead and start with the introduction. Review 1, Introduction. Beginning with today, we will have a series of review periods. Each of them will cover 5 of the ideas already presented, starting with the first and ending with the 50th. There will be a few short comments after each of the ideas, which you should consider in your review. In the practice periods, the exercises should be done as follows. Begin the day by reading the 5 ideas, with the comments included. Thereafter, it is not necessary to follow any particular order in considering them, though each one should be practiced at least once. Devote 2 minutes or more to each practice period thinking about the idea and the related comments after reading them over. Do this as often as possible during the day. If any one of the ideas appeals to you more than the others, concentrate on that one. At the end of the day, however, be sure to review all of them once more. It is not necessary to cover the comments that follow each idea either literally or thoroughly in the practice periods. Try rather to emphasize the central point and think about it as part of your review of the idea to which it relates. After you have read the idea and the related comments, the exercises should be done with your eyes closed and when you are alone in a quiet place if possible. This is emphasized for practice periods at your stage of learning. It will be necessary, however, that you learn to require no special setting in which to apply what you have learned. You will need your learning most in situations that appear to be upsetting rather than in those that already seem to be calm and quiet. The purpose of your learning is to enable you to bring the quiet with you and to heal distress and turmoil. This is not done by avoiding them and seeking a haven of isolation for yourself. You will yet learn that peace is part of you and requires only that you be there to embrace any situation in which you are. And finally, you will learn that there is no limit to where you are, so that your peace is everywhere as you are. You will note that for review purposes, some of the ideas are not given in quite their original form. Use them as they are given here. It is not necessary to return to the original statements nor to apply the ideas as were suggested then. We are now emphasizing the relationships among the first 50 of the ideas we have covered and the cohesiveness of the thought system to which they are leading you. And that is the introduction of lesson 51, the first review. So we're just going to go straight into this now that we're here. Let's go ahead and begin with lesson 51. The review for today covers the following ideas. 1. Nothing I see means anything. The reason this is so is that I see nothing, and nothing has no meaning. It is necessary that I recognize this, that I may learn to see. What I think I see now is taking the place of vision. I must let it go by realizing it has no meaning, so that vision may take its place. So we are learning, and we've talked about this for the past 50 days, that what we think we see is really just the images that me and you have made. Everything we see in this world is neutral, and our thoughts are not neutral. Our thoughts about something is what is making us either feel good or feel bad. Our thoughts about situations or people or things which are neutral, those things are neutral, those people are neutral, those bodies are neutral, those situations are neutral, but our thoughts about those things are not. So we are giving everything we see all the meaning it has to us. Therefore, what we are doing right now is not real vision. We are just perceiving images that we have put over everything. And real vision is whenever we learn to replace the images we have made with everything and see what God would have it be. 2. I have given what I see all the meaning it has for me. I have judged everything I look upon, and it is this and only this I see. This is not vision. It is merely an illusion of reality, because my judgments have been made quite apart from reality. I am willing to recognize the lack of validity in my judgments because I want to see. My judgments have hurt me, and I do not want to see according to them. 3. I do not understand anything I see. How could I understand what I see when I have judged it amiss? What I see is the projection of my own errors of thought. Powerful. That's worthy of being highlighted one more time. What I see is the projection of my own errors of thought. I do not understand what I see because it is not understandable. There is no sense in trying to understand it, but there is every reason to let it go and make room for what can be seen and understood and loved. I can exchange what I see now for this merely by being willing to do so. Is not this a better choice than the one I made before? Willingness is everything. Me and you being here and being willing to remove the images that we have made over everything and see it for what it really is and regain true vision is powerful, because whenever we have true vision, then nothing will trigger unconditional and irrational emotions for us in this world. We will never get angry out of nowhere, or we will never get frustrated out of nowhere, or feel lack, or feel any of those emotions on a basis which is so unaware. Like we just get hit with get hit in the head and we're just in a daze, in an illusion. That will never happen no more, because we are so aware that everything we see we have given the meaning to, and whenever we remove it and see it for what it really is, which is love, then only love will be your response to everything. And whenever we get to that point, trust me, that's where the real fun begins, because now you get to be a part of this movie that you are living, a part of the experience. And there still will be experiences that you once would have considered bad, but because you removed all of your meaning from it and you see it for what it really is, you understand that even though this looks and appears bad to the rest of the world, this situation I'm going through, me going through this so-called bad situation, because I have replaced my thoughts about it and allowed the word of God to be written over it, I understand that this is just an experience. So I'm very pleased to be going through this experience, because although I wouldn't prefer it, it is helping me understand and come to the conclusion of something more that I didn't know before. And I had to experience this in order to come to this conclusion. So we'll start to see that this is just such a fun game that we're playing, because we're understanding the game of life, how to play it. We're understanding how this movie works, and we are understanding that it's not as serious as we make it out to be. 4. These thoughts do not mean anything. The thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything because I am trying to think without God. What I call my thoughts are not my real thoughts. My real thoughts are the thoughts I think with God. I am not aware of them because I have made my thoughts to take their place. I am willing to recognize that my thoughts do not mean anything and to let them go. I choose to have them be replaced by what they were intended to replace. My thoughts are meaningless, but all creation lies in the thoughts I think with God. So remember, God's mind is our mind. We are one with and a part of, an extension of God, whatever you would like to call God, pure positive source energy, source energy. There's so many terms that we could call this beautiful power that we are an extension of, and only whenever we know that we are one with and a part of that, and understand that we share those attributes because we are created in the image of that, now we could finally exercise our creative power. Now, one thing before we continue, which is why what we're discussing is so powerful, is that we cannot not create. We cannot not focus attention and direct attention. Every single thought we have is us activating a frequency. Every single thought we have, and we can't stop that at all. It's happening 24/7, whether we're aware of it or not. Every single thought we have is producing form on some level. So me and you have literally learned how to imprison the Son of God. We have literally learned in this world worry, doubt, and fear, and we believed in it so much that we believed it was real, and now we think that we are at effect of this world and everything's against us, or everyone's against us, or we have to hide who we truly are because it's this image that we made, which is not really who we are, but we think that's who we are because we're identified with the ego in that moment. All of these insane patterns of thought that we have been trained to think our whole life has been simply false and not really there. And today we have woken up to the fact that me and you are creators, and instead of miscreating, instead of using this powerful tool of ours unintentionally, we can use it deliberately and understand how to think with God, which is our will, because that's what we intended to do before we stepped in these bodies. And if we remained there, there would be no need for this conversation. If you think of a little baby, pure little baby, straight from source, straight from God, created brand new with this fresh, starry-eyed perspective. They are brand new in this world. They do not need this course because they haven't forgotten who they are, what they are, and the power that lies within them. They are here to create. But because that little child, which was me and you at one point, learned so much junk of this world, they are now seeing images that they created rather than seeing it for what it is, because although their eyes in this world were open, they fell asleep to the truth of who they really are, and now they believe of the illusions of this world. And that is why this beautifully written book is in our experience right here, right now, today, in this instant, so that way we can undo that false perception and regain that perspective that we had when we were brand new to this earth. And trust me, that is exactly what we want, because whenever we have that once more again, then from there and only from that point on can we truly create and live a life that is filled with outrageous joy. 5. I am never upset for the reason I think. I'm never upset for the reason I think, because I am constantly trying to justify my thoughts. I am constantly trying to make them true. I make all things my enemies, so that my anger is justified and my attacks are warranted. I have not realized how much I have misused everything I see by assigning this role to it. I have done this to defend a thought system that has hurt me and that I no longer want. I am willing to let it go. What a beautiful way to end off today. I'm going to read this part one more time, and we're going to talk about it before we conclude. It says, I am never upset for the reason I think because I am constantly trying to justify my thoughts. I am constantly trying to make them true. Now, check this out. Me and you are love and light. We are literally truth. We are unchangeable, unalterable. This is who we are. We are not these bodies. So although this body is what you see with your physical eyes, there's much more going on beneath the surface that your eyes can't interpret. Now, that's truth. Love is truth. Joy is truth. Happiness is our function. This is what is here 24/7. And that does not need no justification. We don't need to justify this at all because it simply just is. But the thoughts that me and you made, the image of ourself that we constructed our whole life, which was done with the ego, we think that this self is us. We think that we have to be this way and present ourselves this way to the world and do these things. And we don't even understand why, because we don't understand anything we see, but we're doing it because that's how we were raised in this world. That's how we grew up. And we try to defend that and justify and make it true. We try to make this true, but why would you need to make something true? Truth just is, and there's no need to justify truth. If that was true, there would be no need to argue for your limitations and make this image that we have made true. So that's powerful because you will see it in others, and whenever you see something in others, it's easy for you to be aware now that you also do the same thing. So be aware and without judgment, just kind of observe the people around you and kind of observe the world and see how they're talking about themselves and others, see how they discuss their finances, see how they discuss relationships and the desires that they have of this world, see how they talk about things, and you will see that they try to justify why they don't have them, or try to make true what is not true. They try to make this image of themselves that is the ego that they think is them, but it's really not, because they forgot and fell asleep to the fact they are love and light. Just keep an eye on that because you'll see it, and it's easier to see this stuff in someone else. Trust me. Although me and you are sitting here today discussing this, and although I'm the one reading this book, it's hard to see these things in myself sometimes, especially whenever I'm asleep. But it's so much easier to see that other child of God sleeping and hallucinating. I'm gonna use that word because that's the terminology that the course uses, but it's easier to see someone else not in their right mind. And without judgment, I noticed that and I'm like, oh, okay, I do the same shit. I do the same thing. And then now I could take that piece of knowledge and information so that way whenever I am doing the same thing, I snap out of it and catch myself and understand I wouldn't be doing this thing or walking or talking or thinking or speaking or feeling this way if I were awake in this moment. So the fact that I am thinking without God, which the course wouldn't call thinking, but the fact that I am identifying with the ego and I'm aware of it now, and only now can I do something about getting back into alignment, because alignment is where I want to be. This state of mind is where we want to be. I promise you, this is where everything works out. Whenever we are asleep, things don't always work out in our favor. And that's even a better way of saying that is things are always working out in our favor, but because we are asleep in that instant, we can't perceive the good and the blessings that are coming into our life at that moment, because when you ask, it is given. Now, can you hear the answer? Depends on, are you identifying yourself with the ego or are you awake? And being awake is what we desire, because when we are awake, we get to be the receivers of all the good that God is throwing our way 24/7. So this is a powerful lesson today because it's 5 lessons in one. Go ahead and read this again on your own time and keep these thoughts in mind today, because the more we think these thoughts rather than I'm hot, or I don't know what to do, or should I do this or this, or I'm tired of this being this way, or all these all this mindless wandering. We are too tolerant of mindless wandering. And because we have something to put our attention on and focus on, which is these headings, now we can replace all that mindless wandering with truth and knowledge. And we will understand that that's better than anything we could be thinking about, because we're not really thinking. We're just repeating these old thoughts because of habit, and we think we're thinking, but we're really just using our time unproductively when we could be using it so much more creatively. So let's go ahead and do this today on our own times. That is the end of lesson 51, and I will catch you tomorrow for lesson 52.